My name is Enrico Giovannini. I'm professor of economic statistics at the University of Rome, Tor Vergata. I think that in Europe, the most important challenge for data for policy over the next few years is to build an integrated single market for data. What I mean is we have to put down the barriers that stop the transferring of data between countries. But more than that, we have to develop a European view about how to use data not only for profit activities, but for policy making, and also to help non-profit organizations to benefit from this data to provide more services to citizens. In the report we prepared for the Sustainable Development Goals preparation, and especially on the data revolution for sustainable development, we issued several recommendations to UN and to countries. First, we need a global consensus on data principles and uses. This is not really a statistical problem. This is a policy problem because data are not only helpful to monitor what's going on, but is a way to achieve sustainable development. So data are an asset that need to be regulated in some way and promoted. The second recommendation is about statistics. We have to speed up the production of data in several fields. We have to have developing countries able to cope with this huge challenge, and we have to exploit economies of scale. The third point is technology. A lot of people are doing great stuff around the world, and we recommended UN to build a lab where this kind of the latest developments could be shared. Now, some of these ideas are going through and the countries are moving in this direction, but I don't see really the scale up of the project. Statistical offices are still following their own national way of doing things. We are not building regional centers as we recommended. The whole story is moving at the usual speed, while the rest of the world is moving at a different speed. This is the challenge that, in my view, UN and other bodies are not really taking up. Of course, there are a lot of issues on the use of data, not only big data, but also administrative data for producing statistics, but especially for policy making. In developed countries, there are clear boundaries between what the statistical offices can do and should do to support policies. For example, the protection of confidentiality is one of the core principles, and confidentiality is fully protected. In other countries, developing countries, the situation is not so developed. Therefore, there is an issue, the policy issue, beside the, let's say, ethical issues, in order to be sure that data, as they are an asset, are protected and people are protected from the misuse of data. Maybe there is an underestimation of the way in which the private sources manage data and the way in which some public sources should protect more. This is, as I said, a political issue, and I don't see some governments in particular are taking this very seriously. I think that we are seeing a lot of very good developments at technical level around the world, especially in developed countries, on using big data for policy, but also for providing services to citizens. I think that the next challenge and next year developments will see more and more of these good examples. The challenge is to try to make out of them something consistent and systematic. This is why governments have to develop a much stronger cooperation with research centers and private sector who are doing most of these developments. Governments have the tools to oblige these big guys, let me put it in this way, to sit down and discuss. Data is a lifeblood of democracy, and I think that this is a crucial issue for the future of our lives, and also to be capable to address the economic, social, environmental challenges that are at the core of the Sustainable Development Goals. Conferences like Data for Policy are very important to share good practices and identify the latest developments. We'll see next year the first World Data Forum, which was one of the recommendations of our panel, how this will be developed. Because if this will be again a meeting among statisticians, among converted people, we are not going to move the agenda very much. Our recommendation was to involve all the components of our society, including the private sector, including the big data holders. So we will see whether the UN and the other organizations will be able at the beginning of 2017 to get them together and have them working together to achieve sustainable development, use data for policy and for improving people's well-being.